So here we are with a lovely compass. Now, when you have your compass, you need to make sure that this is nice and tight, but not too tight, okay? So what you don't want is the compass being all flimsy and doing the splits whenever you try to use it. You want to feel some resistance so that when you set a certain radius, it stays that way, yeah? Next thing to remember is that you never push the compass, okay? So you always want to pull it. And that means leaning it slightly in the direction that you want to draw. So if you're drawing anti-clockwise, then you would go this way round, okay? If you're then coming back the other way to close off that circle, you would lean it this way, okay? So you're always leaning it ever so slightly and pulling it. The other thing to remember is that you want to put pressure onto the pin rather than the pencil, okay? So the pencil is following round, but you're concentrating on keeping the pin in place, because if that moves, then of course you're going to change the center like that. So if I just find where that was, there we go. Another option, if you're not confident with turning it this way and that way, is you can lean it and then just turn the paper. Clearly I'm not using the same center. You can see I'm getting a bit of a double line there. But yeah, if you turn the paper and you're just holding the compass perfectly still, that achieves the same result. Yeah. And then changing the radius. The easiest thing to do would be to mark out the radius that you want on your paper. So if you say you want a radius of let's say 6 centimeters, I would mark out that line at 6 centimeters, simply because trying to set a radius on the ruler with the ruler moving around is going to be less accurate, isn't it? If you're just pushing that ruler around and chasing it all the way, you're going to have inaccuracies. But the paper, once you put the pin down, the paper is going to stay in place. So you know you've got that very accurate radius there. Yeah. So if I wanted to draw that arc, can you see I'm still holding on? Let's bring that a bit closer. I'm still holding on to the pin, and the pencil is just making a faint line, because they're all supposed to be construction lines, aren't they? So we're just doing a faint line like that. Now you can do some amazing things using a compass. For example, something like this, which I've laminated, so it's a bit shiny. I've coloured it in and laminated it, but can you see all the different circles sitting overlapping each other there? So the way to do that, if I go back to this page and just find what my radius was, there we go. So we start with just a plain circle, okay, and then keep the same radius. That's very important. If the radius changes, then your circles won't share all these points. Yeah, it'll get untidy and less neat. So you pick a point on the circumference, anywhere, you put your pin there, and then you can go either just inside the circle, and that should go through the center, of course, because the radius is the same, yeah, or you go all the way around, as I did on the other sheet. But this one is a smaller one, just to start you off, and then you can see you've marked a new point there. So you work your way around the circle using every one of these points, always leaning, remember, depending which way you're going. So you're always leaning and pulling. And this one, and that should close, and it does. So my radius has stayed the same, which is fantastic. And this one, that should close as well. Fabulous. Oh, there's a little bit of overlap in the center. Can you see that? There's a tiny bit of inaccuracy there, but I think we can live with that just about. And then here we need to finish that off at the end. So yeah, got a tiny bit of inaccuracy. You can see that one's a little bit open, so is that one, and we've got a little bit of overlap in the middle. But that is a really interesting way, in my mind, to practice using a compass and practice using it accurately. So by putting the pressure on the pin, on the needle, rather than the pencil, you're more likely to keep the radius the same. And of course, having that proper tension up on the joint also helps to keep the radius the same. Good, I hope that's been useful. Do share your artwork if you end up making any.